Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to week 7. Today, we are going to be looking at mastering auto layout and responsive design. So, this is what we're going to be learning this week. Last week, we looked at understanding typography, space, and grid. And I want to believe that now we already have like little understanding, about typography, about spacing, and also grid. Um, yeah, so let's just dive in. So today we have 3 points, agenda. It's actually four. Sorry, I didn't upload this. We are going to be looking at, a little tutorial on auto layouts, just like the basics, right? So, like I said earlier, now I'm sure that when you look at fonts, when you look at typefaces, when you look at typography in general, you know the understanding, right? You know um, how you should pick a font for a project. You know how you should set the font height, font weight. Like now, you don't just pick those fonts, based on vibes or based on I feel this is how you should do it. Right now, you can pick these fonts. Pick the typeface that you want to use. Set them and make them look good by the things right? By the best practice. I want to believe we already know that now. So now, moving forward, we now want to get into um, like a part of UI design, right? Auto layout is a feature on Figma. It's a feature that would help you, design faster. It's a feature that would help you um, make your design cleaner when it comes to alignment of design, when it comes to making your design look cleaner, keeping the spacings intact and all those things. Like, it helps you do all of those things instead of manually doing it yourself. We're going to be looking at that, practical together today. And responsive design, we all know what responsive design is, whereby you are designing a web, and also you are designing the mobile responsive and even the tablet responsiveness of that design. So now, we are getting deep into UI itself, and every week it keeps getting better and better. Um, so just like I've structured, the curriculum, you can see that it's from the foundation. Like, now we are going in, we are getting more knowledgeable in this craft, right? Before you even think of designing using auto layout, or even talking about responsiveness, you need to know the basics like the colors, typography, spacing, and all these things, right? So, the next class is going to be an advanced one where you get to make use of this auto layout, and it keeps going that way. All right, um, so let's just get into it. So before I get started, I just want you guys to. I want to know if you've been following what I've been saying all this while. Okay. Pelumi, the floor is yours.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Good evening, Pelumi.
Yeah, as for me, I've been following all what you have been saying since.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
may
Uh,
God give you the strength to.
you said?
I say, may God give you the strength to continue, sir.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Yeah,
thank,
we are with
thank,
you.
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes,
The only thing I need from you guys is the ginger that you've been giving me all this while. That will give me the strength to keep on, doing all of this, right? And I want to appreciate every one of you guys. It's not been easy, right? You guys have been putting in the work, and now you just look at when we started, and now we're already in week 7. Week 7 in just 1 month and 3 weeks. That means next week we're going to make it like 2 months that we started this whole journey together. You know, like the whole thing about life or about getting things done is just to take that very first step, and before you know it, before you look back, boom, you're already into it. All right, so um I'm trying to look for. Okay, I'm coming. Okay, so I took a master class earlier this year. So I want to use the same material, the same example I used for them. So I'm trying to, you know, pull it out. Praise, your hand is raised. Please, the floor is yours. Okay.
Hello, good evening. So I'm on the road, so it's going to be a bit noisy.
Oh,
But can
okay.
you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you clear and loud.
Okay, so I was wanting to make a suggestion that many of us are actually a bit behind with the exercises because
Okay.
we may not finish watching everything. So I wanted to ask if there was a way that this at the end of the week meetings that we usually do. It can be like a demo summary that can piece of clicked or done for at least those that attend so that they can just see a whole summary of everything that they probably had to learn over the week. Just to know if there can be anything like that.
Y-
But no
Okay.
problem if you can't. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, what you're saying is like probably a video that they can go back to play back everything I've been said, right? Is that
Yeah,
it?
it could be a video, it could just be a talk, it could be just at least it can be a summary to help
Oh, okay. So,
learn.
okay, for that, all the meetings are always recorded. The only one that is not available on the YouTube channel is the last week one, and I'm going to make sure I get it uploaded. After this meeting, like over the weekend, I'm going to make sure I upload it. So that's why I always try to record this section, and I upload them on the YouTube channel so that you can always go back, to watch it, to go over what you need to do or what you need to do. Do you understand? So I think that's the only thing that we can do for now, right? Yeah, and I think that's like the best thing, to get the session recorded, and then you can always go back to watch, and anything that you miss, you can take a recap from the video. So yeah, I've been doing that. All right. So like I said, what we're looking at today is responsive design and auto layouts. Okay, Abayomi said like a video on YouTube, and can we get a link to the course YouTube video so we can subscribe and watch? Yeah, like I said, I've been posting on YouTube videos like every recording. The only one that is not on YouTube is the last week section, which is week 6, and I'm going to post it, this weekend. So okay, for this particular course, it's not a pre-recorded course. So I'm also working towards having it pre-recorded. So the course is mastering Figma and UI design. So I'm working on that. But the course was like a live. It's a master class, right? Everything we do is live, and you know, so that was how the course was done. Okay, so let's get started because we don't have time on our hand. Okay, so understanding auto layouts. Um, the first thing we need to understand before we even start to design using auto layouts is the tool itself. So before I can get access, so if you look at the Figma Canva here, this is where you can find the auto layout. But before the auto layout pops up, you need to you know you need to like ignite it, right? And what I mean by that is you need to like use the auto layout on something. So that's why I brought out this shape. So now if I should add auto layout to this shape, so I click on it and I press Shift A on my keyboard, right? So you can see once you do that, automatically you can see this guy. Let me delete the auto layout and go again. Someone is raising up their hand. Hello, Saliu.
I can't I can't see your screen, that's why.
You can't see my screen.
Yes, it's just saying black.
Can everyone see my screen, please?
I can see your screen.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
So Sally, probably you need to leave and join back. My screen, like, because I'm using another device to also, you know, check what I'm doing. So I can also see from my end. So you have to leave and join back. And please, guys, just drop it in the chat, right? Instead of raising up your hand, so that I won't stop in between, right? All right, thank you. All right, so let me start again. So, like I said, when you open your Figma, when you open a new file, these are the only things you can access, like the page, local variables, the local style, exports. So, now we are only focusing on auto layout in this video. So if you bring out any object, be it a shape, be it a text, be it like any shape or text, for text you see the text panel here. So now for auto layout, when you want to bring auto layouts, when you want to attach auto layout to this guy, you use shift A. That's the shortcut. And immediately you do that, you can see that on the Canva here, on the side right panel here, you can see the auto layout shows up, right? So the same thing as for shape. When I click on the shape and I use auto layout, you can see here the auto layout shows up. So now, by default, when you do that on an object by default, you can see this 4:4. This 4:4 is like the default spacing. And now, before I even go into that, we'll take each and every one of these two under this auto layout. We'll talk about them and what they do. So this dash icon here, what it does is to delete. So when I click on this, you can see it deletes the auto layout. And now another thing you need to know is when you click on that, it turns the auto layout to a frame, as you can see. So before I move forward, I want us to understand that auto layout is also regarded as a frame, but the time of frame auto layout is because it argues content. So let me tell us what that means. So now you can see that when I delete it, it turns it to a frame. This is a frame. You can see this particular shape or icon is a frame. Now let me duplicate this guy here and let me add auto layout. Can you see the icon for auto layout? You can see that the name is frame. That is, there are two types of frame. One cannot respond to the content inside of it. The other one can respond to the content inside of it. That is, can hug it. The one that can hug it is auto layout. The normal one, the other one is frame. So you can see that this one is facing right. It's facing down, I mean. You can see this icon because the direction here is facing down. When I change the direction to horizontal layout, you can see that it changes. So it's still the same, right? So now, let me tell us the difference between these two guys. Let me add a fill of white to both of them. As you can see there is a fill. So now, if I should duplicate this guy, can you see that it's hugging it? The reason why it's going right is because I changed the horizontal layout to right. But if I move it downwards, can you see? Now, let me duplicate this guy that is on this primary frame that we know. Can you see that I've duplicated it? If you want to know that I've duplicated it, you see inside. Can you see that two rectangles? You can see. But when I duplicated it, you can see that it didn't hug. Right? See this one. This one will keep going. It will keep hugging. Can you see? But this one will not hug because of the way it is. This one, you have to manually, adjust the size of the frame. As you can see, you will now place it yourself. Can you say that it's hard work if you are designing something like something that is very long? For example, look at this guy here. Now, if you use that primary frame, the normal frame, that means all these things you are going to be the one to manually adjust them. So now, if you want to add something here, you will be the one to, let's say for example, this is a component. Okay, this particular guy here is let's make it a component. Let me detach and make this guy a component. Yes, sorry. So now we are still going to get into that, right? Component and variant is still part of the course, but I just want to use this as an example. So this is a component. Normally when you create a component, that means the variant of the components, the instance, I mean, you are going to use it multiple times in your designs, right? So let's say you've used this multiple times, like 3 times. So now, because I'm using auto layout here, if I come to this master component and I want to add, let's say, a new bar that says contact, let's just say contact. Can you see that as I'm updating it, can you see that these other two guys, they're updating? That's the work of a component, right? That's not even what I want us to see. You can see that while I'm adjusting this guy, you can see that he's going. So that is, the beauty of a component. Um, okay. What I want to explain, I don't think I should even use this component as the explanation. Okay. Okay, let me just take this out. Okay. So let me detach these guys. So I want to use this guy. I want to convert it to let me just take out this section so that I won't make it complex. Okay. So now I want to, this is like the auto layout, right? I want to change this to the primary frame. So now you can see these guys are now in a frame. The moment I delete it, it becomes a frame. So now, when I want to add new stuff to this, let's say I want to add a new section, you can see that it's all in it. Can you see? Just like I've explained. Now, if I want to add a new stuff to this, can you see that it's duplicating, but I can't like, it's not organ. The reason is because it's a normal frame. So what you now need to do here is to, ideally, you bring this down. So there's another thing we are also going to talk about that. You can see that this content are moving up. So that is what we call constraints. So this one, you now have to manually adjust this yourself. You can see that it's going to be a lot of work, right? So for me, when I'm designing, I don't use frame at all in my design. The only time I use frame is when I want to work on prototype, when I'm doing animation and prototype. That's the only time I use frame. But for my main design, I do not use frame. You can see this entire thing that you can see here, this entire dashboard design, I designed everything with frames. With auto layout, I mean. Sorry. I designed everything here with auto layout. And that's why if I come here and I want to add something inside of this, you can see that it's going to be responsive. It's easier for me to scale up my designs, right? So now, let's continue learning the tools under auto layout. So now, like I said, let's go again. When you delete this, it turns to a normal frame, right? This section that you can see here is what we call the direction or layout section, right? So now the direction section or layout section is this. This is how it works. So this is how it works. So like I said, when you over on this particular guy is called vertical. We all know vertical. Vertical is facing down. Why this other guy facing right is called horizontal. So when you click on this vertical, it means all the objects that are inside of this frame are going to be facing down. That's what it means. As you can see here, are going to be what? Facing down. So now, when you click on vertical, it means they are going to be what? Facing. When you click on that arrow facing right, that means horizontal. It's going to be facing left and right. While vertical is facing top and bottom, right? So now this other guy is a new feature that was added this year to auto layout. It's called wrap. And what wrap is saying is that when you click on wrap, it means that you want to use a width to it. You want to use a defined width. So now, when you're using wrap, it means, let's say I want the width to be 800. The width of my auto layout, I want it to be 800. So what you're now saying is, anything you're adding, it keeps on adding, it keep on responding to that width downwards. Before it wasn't like that. You now need to add, multiple auto layouts before you can achieve this. But with auto layout, with the wrap, it makes it easy. So now, when you now add this wrap, there are more settings to it. So before I get there, or yes, let me explain it. Let me go back to this guy here. So now, when you use vertical, the next thing you need to also understand is the gap between lines. What we mean by gap between lines is this. When I over on this, I want you guys to pay attention to this canvas, to this object. When I over on this, you can see that Figma is already giving us hints as to what this is, where this means. So vertical gap between line, that means the line between this guy and this guy. That's what it means. So is what is 4px. So now you can increase it depending on what you want to achieve, right? So you can see that's the line between. That's what it means. Now this guy here is horizontal padding. We all know what a padding is. A space inside of an object. That is, in this case, is the space inside this auto layout. Horizontal. Horizontal is what? Is the left hand side and the what? And the right hand side. If you pay attention to your Canva also, you will notice that Figma is giving you hints as to what horizontal padding is. If you will see one blue line at this edge, connecting this edge. Can you see? If you click on this, you will see one blue line connecting this edge. Can you see? Can you see it here? So now the horizontal, left and right. So let's say 16 also. Can you see, guys? So now this one is what? Is vertical. Top and bottom. Let's say 16. Can you see? So now that is for either, or a vertical or what? Or horizontal. So now let's now go back to this wrap. So like I said, when you're using wrap, it means that you want to use the width. You want it to be defined. So that means you are going to change it from mug to width. Let's say the width we want to use is 880. 880. So now you can see. So when I keep adding this, when it gets to that point where the width is 880, it goes to the next line automatically. So now this is what I don't want to explain to us. You see that when you use wrap, there is another guy here that shows up. Initially this one is supposed to be vertical or horizontal gap between, but because wrap is having a vertical and horizontal gap inside of it, that means we need to also set the vertical gap. This is the horizontal gap, this is the vertical gap. That is the line in between horizontally. The space in between horizontally is what we call horizontal gap. Why the one sideways is what we call the one sideways is what we call horizontal. Why the one that is top to bottom is called vertical. So now this guy by default, you can see that there's 16 there. The reason why there's 16 there is because by default it takes the spacing, the measurement you've used for the horizontal, it marries it. But in a case where you want to use a different vertical spacing, you can come here and type in the spacing. Can you see? And that happens. So that is that about the direction. Okay, so now the next thing you want to learn here is this guy. What does this guy even mean? So this guy is what we call the alignment area. So now how we are going to understand this, I need to take out all of these guys, and for us to understand this, I need to make sure the width and the height are fixed. So let me make this 440. Yes, I need to make sure the height and the width are fixed. So now this is top, align top left. You can see it's aligned top left. So now when I move it to the center, you can see what happens. Aligns top center. This one is aligned top right. This one is align left center. You can see align center itself. This one is align right center. This one is align left bottom or bottom left. Align bottom center and align bottom right. So that is the work of this guy. You can see. So now let's move forward. These three icon, what it means. But before we go there, this is the advanced auto layout settings. But before we go to the advanced auto layout, let's check out this guy. So what this guy is saying is this guy is an individual padding. I said it earlier that this is the horizontal padding, this is the vertical padding. Why this guy is the individual? What individual means is that horizontal means left and right. Vertical means top and bottom. So what this individual is saying is, in a case where I want to use a padding, the padding I want to use for the left, I don't want it to be the same for the right. The padding I want to use for the bottom, I want it to be different from the bottom. That is what individual. That is, you give each of these sides individual padding. So now, let me return these guys. Let me go back to this padding and let me, return this guy. 16. Okay. So the reason why it's not going is because the spacing here cannot contain it. You understand? So if I should move it, can you see? It's because the spacing cannot what? Contain it. So now we have this guy. Let me hug this guy. Let me okay. 4 4 4 be 4 4 0. Okay, 8. Okay. So now when you click on your auto layout for horizontal individual padding, so when you click on this guy, can you see what happens? I want you guys to pay attention to this. When you click on this guy, can you see that this thing splits up? You see, this is the horizontal, left, right. Can you see? Left, right, top, bottom padding. Can you see? It gives an individual. So now I can come here and say, okay, I want my left one to be 8. Can you see? I want my right to be 12. So now, the reason why this did not move is because I'm using fixed. So let me change it to org so that we can see it. And let me even use, just one of this guy so that we can see it in real time. So you can see I change this to 8. I change the right to, let me use 16. Can you see? Let me use 40. Can you see? So let me go back to 16. Top, I want to use 20. And bottom, I want to use 24. Can you see? So you can use individual spacing if that's what you want to achieve with this. So now if you want to, let's say you want to use, you want to go back to the left and right, or you want to just switch off this guy. So when you click on this, you can see that it now has multiple numbers for the horizontal and the vertical. What this means is that this first one is the left, this second one is the right, this first one is the top, this second one is the right. So you can even come here and edit it without clicking here to say that, okay, I want this to be 40. Can you see the right? I want this one, the top, I want the top to be 12. The comma needs to be there. Do you get? I want this one to be 8. Can you see? And if you want to use the same figure for both left and right, you can just click on everything and just use one figure. And the left and right, becomes the same. And this one too, you can just use one figure and it becomes the same. Can you see? Can you see that? It's not that hard. It's just for you to understand, all these little basics, and you are going to, understand, using auto layout. So now, before I go into the advanced settings, you can just drop in the chat. Let me see if you're following and if you now understand the basics, the foundation of auto layout, or how to use auto layouts with my explanation. Just drop in the chat. You can just say, just drop anything so I know that we are all following. Are you guys with me at all? Okay. Jolayemi said I'm understanding. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. So now, let's get into the advanced settings. So for the advanced settings, when you click on these three dots, you can see that there is a there is another panel that shows just beside the right panel. It's labeled advanced settings, advanced auto layout settings. So now, in this advanced auto layout settings, we have three major, three stuff there, right? Stroke, canvas stacking, and we have alignment, align text baseline. So for this stroke, we have to let's use so for this stroke, what is it saying is when you add a stroke. So yeah, if you add this, if you come here and add a stroke, and you come to this advanced and you click on include. So if okay, so when you look at this include, you can see that the so when you also over on this, you can see that there is a preview to what is going to happen here. So what you are saying is, let me use two things here. Yeah. Let me make this 4, for example. Let me come here. So now, what you are saying, or let me make it even. Let me reduce the space between, so that we can even see it clearly. And let me use 8 for this also. Okay. Let me make this smaller. 150, or let me use 50-50. Okay. So okay. So yeah, I think we are going to understand it better now. So guys, or let me make this 10 so that a little white can show in there. So this is what advanced stroke. In the advanced settings, the stroke here work with the normal stroke. So you need to give this frame a stroke before you can actually use this properly. So now you can see that the stroke here, I use what? I use 8 pixel. So now what it's saying is excluded. So this one means you want the stroke to be inside your auto layout. That is what excluded means. Now, when you click on included in auto layout, you can see it means that this 10 padding horizontal, 10 padding vertical, you want it to be inside. Like you want. Okay, let me go again. So you can see this is our auto layout. Now, what you are saying is you want this stroke, this 8px stroke, you want it to be inside your auto layout. Can you see? You can see that the stroke is what is inside the auto layout. You can see this is the name. You can see this shape. The stroke is inside. So now when you click on excluded, you can see that what you are saying is you want the stroke to be excluded from the auto layout. That is, from here to here, you can see that it's still 10. You can see that it's still 10. Fine, you can see that this auto layout, this stroke is still inside the auto layout, but it has been excluded. The 8 here has been subtracted from the padding, right? So if I change it back to included, can you see now that our 10 is here? So I hope that is clear. Like it just makes it easy for you to subtract the the size of the stroke from your auto layout padding, right? So that is that. Now this other guy here, canvas stacking, as you can see in the preview here, you can see that is how you are able to stack you to create all these avatar, all these multiple avatar. I think there is one here. Okay, if there is no one here, we can just quickly, let me just quickly create one. Oh, sorry. Why is this thing stacked this way? Okay. Okay, I'm coming. Okay, I found it. All right. So I just want to like copy out these icons for the for illustration's sake. Yes, for demonstration's sake. Okay. Okay. So let me use four. Okay. All right. So guys, so for the sake of this guy, I want to use this guy here. So I'm very sure we must have seen, stuff like this. Let me change this to. So this is already a component. So I just want to use it. Okay. Okay. Let me just say plus. Let me just use plus for now. Okay. So now, the first thing you are going to do here is you don't want space between. You even want to go minus. So I think one thing I didn't tell us is we can go minus with this. What I mean by minus is you can go negative to have a negative spacing, right? You can see you can go minus with all of this spacing to have negative, especially for the space between. That's where you can go minus. So now I want to have a minus 8. I want it to be stacked up. Okay, minus 8 is not looking too good. I think minus 12, right? So now when you click on the auto layout, this already the first thing in canvas is last on top. You can see if you look at the preview, and this guy here, you can see that last on top, this is what last on top means. What it means is that this 5 plus here is going to be the last guy on top of these guys. You can see this one is on top of the first one. This one is on top of this. Why this one is on top of this? That's what you know last on top means. Okay, so now when you look at the second option, first on top, can you see what happens? If you look at the preview. So one thing about Figma that I love so much is you can, from the preview, you can actually see what the work of each of all these things, the work they do. So you can see the first on top. If you want to achieve something like this, you can see. Before all these features came out, you have to do this manually yourself. So now with auto layouts, it makes your work very, very easy. So another thing, so that's for canvas stacking. The last one is now align test baseline. So that's what the one we are going to be looking at. So for that one, we are going to be using text for that one. And I'm also going to use this text, group them. I'm going to come here, and now before this can work, right, I need to make sure that I use like okay, I'm coming. Okay, so for this to work, yeah, I will need to use another object with it. Yes. Yes. So let me go back again. So what this is saying is that wherever you have a text, a text and another object that is not a text, right? You can use this align text baseline. That is, you can see from the frame here. You can see this is going to be center because it doesn't have a text, but this, because it has a text, is going to come bottom. So now I want to even use a more realistic example, right? Yes, this is a more realistic example. Like a more practical, I mean. Sorry for that. Okay, let me even use this top guy. So now the way this is going to work is what this guy is saying is going to read any of the shape here that has text in it. You see, but before you can use it, the height must be in fixed, right? You can see that everything here has the same height, and they are hooked up. So before that can work, is the height must be fixed. That is, there must be at least space, right? So let's say we use 60 height, and you click on this guy, and you change it to, you the alignment. This one means, this first dot means you don't want it. Why this one means yes, you want it. You can see it's going to align the text to bottom. So now this is what it does. You can see he's aligning the bottom line to this guy. That is simply what he's doing. Can you see? He's aligning it to this guy. Can you see? That is it. So that's everything you need to know about auto layout. We have just less than 10 minutes for us to round up, because the next class is next is in is by 6 o'clock. But I've showed us everything we need to know about auto layouts, right? The other materials I'm going to send in us is just it's still the same thing I'm going to tell you, but you now need to now practicalize it. You now need to put in the work to understand it better. So the next part is responsive design. So I think in the material, responsive design is now going to cover a lot of things that you need to know, right? Because we don't have time on our side. So in the link I'm going to send it to us, we are going to pay attention to responsive design a lot in there, because everything we need to know about auto layout has been said. The next thing we need to do is now use auto layout in designing, right? There are auto layout inside auto layout. How to use all of those things. You can see this is on auto layout, inside of an auto layout, inside of an auto layout. So you need to know how to do the spacing. But quickly, I want to just do a practical one. I think let's just do it with this guy, how to use auto layouts in design itself, right? So I won't take time with this before I round up. So now let's say we want to design this guy with auto layouts. Now the first thing is, even this guy is being done with auto layouts. So now this is your icon, right? Let's say you've already picked your icon. So the first thing is you want to add auto layout, Shift A. You can see now you should know the spacing you want to use, right? So the spacing here, let's use 8. So you come here, left 8, 8. Can you see? The next thing you want to do is your what? Corner radius. This is the corner radius. Let's say corner radius is 4. So you can see that you can't see the corner radius because what? You've not added the fill. You come here, you add your fill. You can see. Now you can see that it's not the same because me, I'm using 8. Or let me even use, I'm using 4. Let me use 8 so that it can be the same. You can see. Another thing, the reason why it's not the same is because they use 10 here. Okay, let me use 10 also. Let me design it the way it is. So now is what is the same. So this fill color is different. So I can click on here, use my eye, click on eye, or click here so that I can add my fill. So you see. So the next thing that I always tell people to do is always name your frame. I can come here and say icon, right? So we have this guy. So the next thing you want to do is what? You want to do this guy. So let me just, instead of wasting time, let me just copy this text out. Okay. So this text, you grab it to use auto layout. I will name this one text. And I will change the space between them. I think they use 4. Let me confirm. Yes, I'm right. So 4. Next thing I want to do is this guy. Right? So let me also create this guy from scratch using auto layout. So in this guy, they used frame in creating this guy, but me, I want to use auto layout. So what I'm going to do is, let me duplicate this guy and duplicate this guy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab the two, right? You can see. Let me name it progress bar. I love naming my stuff. So I'm going to remove this guy. Now, another thing I'm going to do so that this guy can be together is, what's the size of this guy? The size is 8. So I'm going to make sure the height, I'll change it from 16 to 8. So can you see? So there's another thing. You can see that this guy is not, coming together, right? So the next thing I would do is to make this guy absolute absolute position. Then I'll bring this guy up and to the left. So also absolute positioning, we are also going to learn it. So absolute positioning is also part of auto layouts, right? So that's when you can, a particular object can have a distinct positioning, right? So you can see. So, in all of the videos I'm going to send, you are going to learn more about how to use auto layout and all of these things. So you can see, guys, we have this guy, right? So let me take this guy out. So you group this together again using auto layouts, right? Then you add the space between. What's the space? 16. So you also name it, like I said, but let me just go ahead without naming so that we don't have time. So now the next thing is I want to add a padding. So I add another auto layout to this guy because I don't want to use this auto layout. I want to add another auto layout. So this auto layout now, what is 16? So I'll name this 16, 16. The next thing is I add the padding. I add the corner radius. The next thing is which color did they use? Okay, they use opacity, white and opacity. So I add a few, 30% opacity, as you can see, 8. And they also used what? They used a stroke. So let me confirm. Okay, it's white also, and they use opacity of 50. 50. White is F 6. Yes. Okay. So now we have this guy. So the next thing I want to group these guys together. Right. What's the space between them? 24. They use 24. Let me use 24 here. Right. Now I'm going to add what? Another auto layout to serve as the main guy here. So the main guy, they use what? They use 16 also. So 16, 16. I'm going to add what? I'm going to add auto layout again. Corner radius of 12. Then I'm going to add a fill color of this guy. So guys, can you spot the difference here? There are no difference, right? I use auto layout in creating all of this. You can see from here, there is nothing like frame. When you open up this panel, you can see there is nothing like frame here. Nothing. Everything is auto layout. So in this design, if I want to now add something to this guy, can you see? To keep hugging it because of the way I've designed it. So you can see everything in this guy here. I used auto layout in designing this guy. So, like I said, when I send you all this material, we'll get to understand better how to use auto layout in designing itself, right? And also responsive design. If we had time, I'll teach us, how to create responsive design from this to this, and also using breakpoints and all of these things, right? So, yes, I think this is where we are going to stop because the next 5 minutes I need to join the next class. What's the next? Okay, so we all know what we need to learn this week. Mastering the auto layout. We already have like a foundational knowledge that would help us with that. The other thing we need to focus on in our material is responsive UI design, right? How we can create responsive UI design. After we've designed it using auto layouts, right? So that's what we need to learn, and I'll be sharing us resources as to help us in learning these things this week. So, do we have any question? Let me just give like 2 minutes for question and answer so that we can, round it up. Okay, I'll be checking the live chat. Okay, do we have any question? Okay, Pelumi said, thank you for your teaching, sir. All right, thank you so much, Pelumi. I guess there are no questions. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. And until next time, have fun and stay fab.